They will cost you tenants, they will cost you rent, which in the long run is going to cost you a lot of money. Hello everybody, my name is Mitch Beaulieu, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to evaluate your property managers when you got them in multifamily complexes. So just a little bit of a background for me, I go and check out a lot of different properties. Every single property that I go and buy before I finish signing off on the paperwork, as I'm sure you guys have seen on many other videos, I go and personally inspect. I go in there, we check out all the units and we check out the building condition. But while I'm there, I'm also sussing out the management that's there. So a lot of these places are being sold right now for a few reasons. They're being sold, one, because the current people are just getting really old and they don't want to deal with it anymore, and they're kind of direct managers. The second reason that I'm finding a lot of is that buildings are just not making people money. They're not cash flowing. And so when these properties aren't cash flowing, the owners just want rid of them. And a lot of times what I'm noticing is that the owners don't actually live there. So let's say the owner lives in a big city, they bought this place, and they just have a live-in manager. And that live-in property manager, most of the time, has no idea how to run a property efficiently. They know the basics of, somebody calls them and asks them for a place to rent, and they'll show them a room, and they'll keep the place kind of clean, and they do their best, but they don't know all the intricacies and how to really make sure that a property can run at the most efficient levels. And so on the show today, I'm just quickly going to go through and I'm going to talk to you guys about the way that I suss out whether or not the property manager who's there when I show up is one who's going to keep their job or one who I'm just going to replace and put somebody in who's going to do it my way and who's going to make sure that building runs at the best possible performance. So before I even get to a property, I make sure to sit down and I look over the financials. So when I'm putting in the offer, I look over all the financials, and just at a high level, I look at all the costs. And when I look at the costs and I look at vacancy rates and I look at the rents in this building compared to market rents in the area, you can quickly see whether or not you have a property manager who knows what they're doing or one who just has no clue and a lot of times just doesn't care. And so what I'm talking about there is, let's say, for example, market rent in an area for a 2-bedroom is $800. And in this place, in this property right now, they have it in there for $600. Well, what's the difference? Why 6 versus 8? Typically, the property manager just wants to fill the building. So they put people in there at $600 a month just to get tenants in the door. But what they're not realizing is if they actually put in a little bit of work and spruce these apartments up a bit, they could get $800 or $900 a month for that same unit. But it's not theirs. They don't care. So all they do is they just fill it with people. And as a property and as an owner, the owner sees, hey, my building's rented, it's cash flowing a little bit or kind of breaking even, no complaints. And we see this just over and over and over again. Now, when I actually get to the property, I make sure to ask the property manager hard questions. I was under the impression this had like a waiting list or something to move in.
Well, I have a couple of people still on my list, yeah.
But they didn't want to move in? Or?
Well, I haven't.
So first off, I walk around and I see the landscaping. Is the lawn cut? Are the weeds picked and cut properly and looking good? When you walk in, is the building dirty or is it clean? Are the windows clean on it? Is the siding clean on it? If those, if the grass is long and the siding's dirty and the windows are dirty and the walkways are dirty, just from an outside perspective, not even walking into the building, you can tell that this person really doesn't care too much. And most of the time, as soon as you walk in the building, you see the exact same thing. Dirty floors, nicks on the walls from people moving in, probably older paint, loose railings. The ceiling tiles a lot of time are going to have cracks and rubs in them. And so once you walk through the building and you see all this stuff, what I like to do is I'll just walk through with that property manager and say, hey, what's this? What's this? What's this? And most of the time they're caught really off guard because I ask them the tough questions. Why didn't you fix that? You work here, that's your job, right? Why didn't you fix that?
That's a new shower nozzle. I never even knew how it was going to operate.
Oh, you didn't test it out after you installed?
No. Well,
Oh, okay.
that's a shower there, but okay.
And they don't like that very much most of the time, and they're not very happy with me. But I can quickly see as soon as I walk into a building and I start asking those questions, and they're like, well, you know, it's not that big of a deal, and they get really nervous about it. For me, I mean, that's somebody who's just not on it, and really that person, their only wage is going to be they just don't have to pay rent, and so they manage the property. But in my opinion, I'd rather just leave that person in there. You can pay rent, and I'll go hire a property manager, and I'll put them in there, and they're going to run the building my way and make sure that it's in great condition. They're going to make sure that the halls are nice and tidy and they're well kept. People aren't going to be smoking in the buildings. And then also that everybody's signed on leases. On full leases, we got their PAD forms, their credit card information, and we also make sure that we're looking for the people who are going to pay the highest monthly rents. So when I'm looking for a good property manager and somebody who's going to be managing my properties, I want to make sure that they check all those boxes for me. I've been in buildings where the property's immaculate and I just left the people in there. The people who are managing it were doing a great job. I left them there. They still do a great job today. I've been to other ones. Most other ones are just the complete opposite. They're rundown buildings and the people just don't seem to care. And I'm not in the business of fighting with them from a distance. They're set in their ways, and most of the time they're not going to change. And so it's much easier to just cut them and put somebody in there who's going to do things my way and make sure that the building is going to run at the utmost efficiency. If you are looking for buildings and you are going to be managing them from a distance like I'm doing, make sure the person who's on the ground is doing a really great job, because if they're not, they will cost you tenants, they will cost you rent, and they don't care about the little things, which in the long run is going to cost you a lot of money. So that's my tips for today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys next time.